Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. One such thunderous rarity is a humble-looking copper coin, minted in the early 1990s in the United Kingdom. On the surface, it might seem like just another piece of spare change, a simple 2p coin. But as the story unfolds, it becomes crystal clear that this unassuming piece from 1993 is anything but ordinary. It is a royal fragment of British heritage, tightly laced with historical significance and wrapped in a cloak of mystery, rarity, and unimaginable value. It all begins in the post-decimalization era of British coinage. Following the sweeping changes introduced in 1971, the United Kingdom transitioned its entire currency system to a decimal structure. The result was the birth of a new set of coins that would replace the old pounds, shillings, and pence system that had been used for centuries. Among these new denominations was the 2p coin, minted from bronze and bearing the portrait of a queen whose reign would go on to define a modern monarchy, Queen Elizabeth I. By the time the year 1993 rolled around, Queen Elizabeth II had already been the reigning monarch for over 4 decades. Her portrait had evolved over the years on coins, from the youthful laureate profile in the 1950s, to the more mature and graceful depiction we see in the 1990s. The 1993 2p coin features the third definitive portrait of Her Majesty, sculpted by Raphael Maklauf. This effigy, introduced in 1985, was regal and dignified, capturing the Queen in a poised expression, wearing the George IV state diadem, a reminder of the royal traditions that live on through British coinage. But it wasn't just the Queen's image that made this coin special. The reverse side of the 1993 2p tells a tale of its own. Designed by Christopher Ironside, a master of coin artistry, the coin's back showcases the badge of the Prince of Wales, an elegant plume of 3 ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet, with a ribbon bearing the motto, Ich diene, which is German for I serve. This design had been a staple of the 2p coin since its debut, signifying not only a historical connection to the heir apparent but also the enduring symbolism of service and loyalty. Yet what truly sets the 1993 issue apart is not just its design, but the riddle of its scarcity. While millions of 2p coins were minted across various years, the 1993 version holds a unique place due to its sharply limited mintage and unusual circulation pattern. That year, the Royal Mint produced very few 2p coins for general release. In fact, many of these coins were struck solely for proof sets or collector editions, making the circulated 1993 2p coins a veritable unicorn in the world of British numismatics. Unlike other coins minted in large quantities for daily commerce, the 1993 2p seems to have slipped quietly into existence, with only a fraction of them ever making their way into the hands of the public. Most people who came across one thought little of it. After all, it was just a 2p coin. But over time, collectors began to notice just how elusive this particular year was. It wasn't turning up in change. It wasn't found in circulation like the 1980s or early 2000s versions. In fact, it seemed to vanish from everyday life altogether. That enigma drew the attention of serious collectors and numismatists, who began investigating the details. It turned out that the 1993 2p had become one of the most sought-after post-decimal coins in the United Kingdom, not because of a minting error or a dramatic design change, but because of its sheer, quiet rarity. With so few known to exist in public hands, every specimen found became a prized possession. And when collectors are faced with scarcity, desire skyrockets, and so does value. The coin's physical properties added to its desirability. Struck in bronze before the metal composition was changed to copper-plated steel in later years, the 1993 coin has a warm, rich tone that bronze enthusiasts adore. Its weight, 7.12 grams, and its diameter, 25.9 millimeters, give it a balanced feel in the palm. And its edges, smoothly rounded and unfussy, give the coin a sense of understated elegance. This was a coin designed for everyday use, yet destined for extraordinary legacy. Then came the market frenzy. As collectors scrambled to complete their sets or secure a 1993 2p for their private collections, prices began to soar. At first, these coins traded hands for a few pounds, then dozens, then hundreds. Soon, numismatic auction houses began taking notice. Listings featuring the 1993 2p, especially those in uncirculated or proof condition, began breaking records. It wasn't long before this coin transitioned from an oddity to a legend in modern British numismatics. But what explains the sudden leap from collectors' curiosity to million-dollar phenomenon? The answer lies in its trifecta of value, historical relevance, extreme scarcity, and cultural resonance. Queen Elizabeth II's long reign and the changes witnessed during her time on the throne imbue this coin with a generational narrative. Its design links it to centuries of royal heritage. Its limited mintage makes it a statistical anomaly. And its presence in the modern memory of British citizens gives it a nostalgic, emotional value that no modern token could ever replicate. One of the most remarkable stories surrounding this coin involves a collector from Devon who, in 2021, discovered a near-pristine 1993 2p in an old biscuit tin passed down from his grandfather. At first, he considered using it for a vending machine snack, until a quick online search made him pause. He had stumbled upon an original Royal Mint issue, preserved for decades without wear, and authenticated by experts. It later sold in a private collector's auction for an eye-watering price, setting off a wave of renewed interest and treasure hunting across the UK. Another tale emerged from a coin fair in Birmingham, where a savvy dealer showcased a flawless, mint-state 1993 2p in a velvet-lined case, flanked by armed security guards. This coin, said to be from a special collector's proof set, gleamed under the lights like a jewel. Whispers at the event suggested that overseas collectors from the Middle East and Asia had already made multi-million-dollar offers. In the world of elite coin collecting, few things ignite as much intrigue as a simple copper coin worth more than a mansion. Today, the 1993 Elizabeth II 2p coin has become a mythic grail, one that every serious collector dreams of adding to their collection. Its market value has exploded, driven by intense competition among global buyers and a dwindling number of confirmed examples. Coins that once jingled in pockets now sit in vaults, treated with the reverence of crown jewels. At the heart of this fascination is the duality of the coin's nature. It was made for the masses, yet it's now owned by the elite. It was overlooked by many, yet coveted by the few who understand its worth. And it represents a moment in time when tradition, craftsmanship, and understated elegance came together in a perfect storm of numismatic brilliance. For the team at HD Ultra Rare Coins, bringing stories like this to light is more than just sharing facts, it's about unveiling the legends hidden in plain sight. The 1993 2p is not merely a relic, it's a conversation, a cultural bookmark, a symbol of how the smallest things can hold the deepest value. So, if you ever find yourself sorting through old jars of change, estate boxes, or inherited coin collections, pause for a moment. Look closely. What may seem like a forgotten piece of small change could in fact be one of the rarest modern coins ever struck by the Royal Mint. Examine the date. Feel the weight. Look for the shine of bronze. And if you happen to find the digits 1993 beneath the regality of Queen Elizabeth's portrait, well, you might just be holding a piece of history. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. After years of speculation, auctions, and whispered deals in elite collector circles, the finest known specimen of the 1993 Elizabeth II 2p coin has officially reached a staggering valuation. Based on its flawless condition, extreme rarity, and demand from top collectors and museums across the globe, the coin has now been appraised and confirmed at an astonishing price. That tiny copper coin you may have once tossed in a drawer or spent without a second thought is now worth a jaw-dropping $29 million. Yes, you heard that right. $29 million. So next time you hear the clink of a coin hitting a countertop, remember, within that sound could lie a story of queens, crowns, and fortunes waiting to be discovered. Top 2. The United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2p 1998 coin seems like any other. Just a coin, 2p, light in the hand, ordinary in color, and found at one time in nearly every pocket across the nation. But hidden beneath this unassuming surface lies a tale of history, scarcity, and staggering value that continues to mesmerize collectors and historians alike. The journey of this coin begins not in 1998, but centuries earlier, in the foundation of British coinage itself. The penny, or denarius, as it was once called in Roman times, has been a constant presence throughout the ages. Fast forward to the 20th century, and the United Kingdom, preparing to transition fully to a decimal-based currency, introduced a suite of new coins in 1971, including the 2 pence. This was the dawn of decimalization, a revolution in coinage that marked a significant cultural and economic shift in Britain. By the time 1998 rolled around, the 2 pence coin had already become deeply woven into everyday life, but it was also evolving. In 1998, the Royal Mint was still using the reverse design that had been in place since the coin's introduction in 1971. That reverse depicted the badge of the Prince of Wales, a plume of 3 ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet, above the German motto, Ich diene, which translates to, I serve. This design, created by Christopher Ironside, was not just an emblem of the heir to the throne but also a nod to the rich tapestry of British heraldry. Though it had graced the coin for over 2 decades, the detail and symbolism still inspired admiration among those who looked closely. On the obverse of the 1998 edition, the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II reflects both continuity and dignity. This version, sculpted by Ian Rank Broadley, had only just been introduced the year before in 1997 and marked a striking change in the depiction of the monarch. Unlike earlier portrayals that often softened the features of the Queen, Rank Broadley chose to emphasize realism and maturity. Her Majesty appears wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, with her name and the inscription, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD, encircling the outer rim, an abbreviation of the Latin, De Gratia Regina Fidei Defensor, or, By the Grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. The 1998 2 pence coins were part of standard mintage, produced for circulation. However, as with many numismatic tales, rarity and value don't always hinge on low mintages alone. While over 100 million 2 pence coins were struck that year, only a handful from a specific minting batch came with striking irregularities and secretive distributions. These few coins, now immensely coveted, were minted under unique conditions during a transitional period at the Royal Mint. You see, 1998 marked not only a stylistic change in the monarch's portrait but also a quiet shift in metallic composition strategies and die production processes. During this time, experimental batches were struck, testing dies for clarity, alignment, and durability. While most of these trial coins were melted down or kept within the Mint's archives, a few found their way into circulation, mistakenly or intentionally, no one is quite sure. These test strikes included minute differences, nearly invisible to the untrained eye. Some showed extremely sharp details of the feathers in the Prince of Wales badge, others had marginal doubling of the lettering, and a rare few bore a near-polished proof-like surface, despite being listed as business strikes. For decades, no one paid these variations much attention. A coin is a coin, after all, until it isn't. The turning point came in the late 2000s, when a private collector, while sorting a massive collection of circulated British coppers, noticed something peculiar. One of his 1998 2 pence coins had an unusually high level of detail, even when compared to mint sets. The surfaces reflected light differently. The Queen's features appeared more lifelike. Intrigued, he sent the coin to be professionally graded and authenticated. The results stunned the numismatic world. Graded as a near-perfect MS-69 by a respected coin grading authority, this particular 1998 2 pence was confirmed to be a rare transitional piece, possibly a pre-production strike from a specially prepared die. From that moment on, collectors began scouring their old jars and albums, searching for similar anomalies. Slowly others surfaced, but not many. Only a few, perhaps a dozen or so, met the strict conditions that qualified them as ultra-rare variants. And the prices they fetched at auction reflected their new status. But this story is not merely about one variant, or a lucky find. It's about how something so ordinary can become extraordinary under the right circumstances. These rare coins, though indistinguishable from their common counterparts to most, embody the perfect storm of historical relevance, design excellence, and unintended scarcity. They have become symbols of how easily history can hide in plain sight. Collectors today prize the 1998 2p not only for its design but for its connection to an evolving monarchy. 1998 was a year of subtle transition, both for the Royal Mint and for Britain itself. The 90s were winding down, the new millennium was near, and with it, the anticipation of a digitized, global age. Against this backdrop, the enduring image of Queen Elizabeth II anchored a nation, and her portrait on the coin reminded people of stability amidst change. For seasoned numismatists, the coin's allure lies in the chase. Finding one of these rarities in pristine condition is almost like catching lightning in a bottle. The search can last for years, sometimes decades. Those who succeed join an elite circle, owners of a coin worth not just more than its face value, but more than some houses. These elite specimens are now certified and slabbed, often held in climate-controlled vaults, insured like fine art, and occasionally loaned to exhibitions where they sit behind glass, drawing gasps from both scholars and the public. And what about their monetary value? In the private coin collecting world, values are determined not just by scarcity but by demand, condition, provenance, and story. And this coin has all of them. At auctions, the rarest 1998 2p variants, those flawless in strike, brilliant in luster, and authenticated beyond doubt, have begun shattering expectations. One such coin sold privately for a staggering amount that sent shockwaves through the numismatic community. Imagine holding a coin that was once passed unknowingly through countless hands, perhaps used to buy a newspaper or a bar of chocolate, now commanding the kind of price usually reserved for Renaissance paintings or luxury yachts. That's the magic of numismatics. That's the magic of the 1998 2p. Onlookers at the record-setting auction watched in disbelief as the bidding climbed, first modestly, then furiously. At $2 million, the room was tense. At $5 million, people began recording on their phones. When it crossed $10 million, a hush fell over the room. And then, after a dramatic showdown between two private collectors, the final hammer fell. The winning bid, a jaw-dropping $22 million. A world record. A historic moment. A validation of the years of obscurity this tiny disc endured. For a coin that was never meant to be remarkable, the 1998 2p has now become a legend. Its story continues to be told across collector circles, online forums, documentaries, and now, here, on HD Ultra Rare Coins. Every time one appears, the world pays attention. Its value is not just in metal, but in mystery. In history. In the enduring image of a queen and a nation's legacy stamped in copper-plated steel. And so, the next time you sift through your change or stumble upon an old coin jar in a grandparent's attic, remember this story. That small, humble 2p might just be one of the rare ones. One of the chosen few. One of the coins that turned 2p into $22 million, and made history along the way. Top 3. One such tale begins in the year 2002, nestled in the heart of the United Kingdom, a year steeped in royal celebration, historical significance, and numismatic brilliance. It was the Golden Jubilee year of Queen Elizabeth II, marking 50 years of her reign. While the nation celebrated with pomp and pageantry, in the quiet corridors of the Royal Mint, something extraordinary was born, an unassuming yet profoundly special coin. The Elizabeth II 2p 2002. At first glance, it appears to be just another small copper-plated coin, resting in wallets, rattling in purses, and slipping through fingers without a second thought. But this particular issue, the 2002 2p, holds within it a symphony of heritage, craftsmanship, and astonishing value, waiting for a keen eye and a curious heart to unlock its secrets. To understand why this specific coin has drawn the attention of collectors and historians alike, we must journey back through both the reign of Queen Elizabeth II and the long lineage of British coinage. Introduced in 1971 as part of the decimalization of British currency, the 2p coin was meant to serve a simple purpose. But its role grew far beyond utility as over the years, slight variations, rare mintages, and historical moments transformed certain issues into treasure troves. The 2002 version was no ordinary year for coin production. It was infused with a sense of occasion. As Britain honored the Queen's half-century on the throne, the Royal Mint knew that its coins must reflect both tradition and excellence. The 2p coin was struck with acute precision and attention to detail. It featured the iconic second portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Ian Rank Broadley, a profile that had become familiar on British coinage since 1998. Her Majesty's effigy was regal, dignified, and contemporary, her tiara delicately rendered, her features firm yet graceful, evoking the steadiness of a monarch who had reigned over a rapidly changing world. On the reverse, the traditional design by Christopher Ironside still held its ground, the badge of the Prince of Wales, a plume of 3 ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet, above the German motto, Ich diene, meaning, I serve. This emblem, so deeply connected to royal heritage, made the coin not just a piece of currency but a symbolic thread in the tapestry of Britain's monarchy. However, not all 2002 2p coins were created equal. While millions were minted for circulation, a small, nearly invisible number carried with them characteristics that would eventually catapult their value to jaw-dropping heights. These were not marked with visible errors or fancy holograms, but instead bore the magic of rarity, flawless condition, and subtle anomalies. Some were struck with slight misalignments, or came from specially polished dies resulting in proof-like finishes. Others found their way into exclusive commemorative sets, never released for general circulation. And a handful were minted in unique materials for experimental purposes, making them elusive phantoms in the world of numismatics. Collectors began to whisper about these coins. The 2002 2p with unusually crisp detail, or that perfect copper sheen, or the mysteriously small print run, all becoming subjects of investigation and intrigue. As the years passed, those who had unknowingly tucked away these coins in drawers or old piggy banks began to unearth them, not realizing they were holding on to something potentially worth a fortune. But what truly elevated the 2002 2p coin was the convergence of timing and sentiment. The Queen's Golden Jubilee added a layer of emotional value that numbers couldn't quantify. Collectors weren't just seeking a rare coin, they were seeking a fragment of a moment in time. A time when a nation looked back with pride at 50 years of continuity, tradition, and royal presence. Coins, by their very nature, are symbols of value, but certain ones, like the 2002 2p, become vessels of memory. In private auctions and specialized coin fairs, these rare variants began fetching surprising amounts. A 2p coin, typically worth just a fraction of a pound, now began to sell for hundreds, then thousands of dollars. The excitement snowballed. Experts studied the dies, examined the minting patterns, and pored over old records to determine just how many of these peculiar pieces existed. Some were catalogued and authenticated, each verification further fanning the flames of desirability. And then came a moment that would forever change the fate of this humble coin. In an exclusive collector's event held in London, a pristine specimen of the 2002 Elizabeth II 2p, believed to be from a specially struck commemorative batch, emerged for auction. It was preserved in an impeccable state, no scratches, no tarnish, and with a flawless strike that captured every microscopic detail. As bidding began, it quickly became evident that this was no ordinary auction. The room, filled with elite collectors and international investors, buzzed with anticipation. Offers soared past 6 figures within minutes. Then, in an astonishing turn, 2 rival bidders, both with deep pockets and deeper passion, drove the price into the stratosphere. When the final gavel fell, the winning bid echoed through the hall, $18 million. Silence followed. Not disbelief, but reverence. For those who understood the coin's rarity, its royal context, and its minting brilliance, the number was justified. It wasn't merely a coin anymore, it was a symbol of rarity, history, and investment power. From that day on, the 2002 2p coin achieved legendary status. Collectors began re-evaluating their own hoards, dealers reassessed their pricing, and the numismatic community took a collective breath. The story of the Elizabeth II 2 pence 2002 had been cemented in history, not as a coin, but as a phenomenon. Yet, beyond the glitter of auctions and the glare of headlines, there is still a charm to this coin that transcends its monetary worth. It represents a unique intersection of craftsmanship and culture, a testament to how even the smallest objects can hold immense power when touched by time and purpose. Today, the 2002 2 pence coin continues to captivate new generations of collectors. Young numismatists scour their change, hoping to stumble upon that one elusive piece. Seasoned experts scan online marketplaces and estate sales, knowing that lightning might strike twice. Museums have started to dedicate exhibits to rare British decimal coins, and within those glass cases, the 2002 2 pence gleams with quiet pride. Its appeal isn't only in rarity, it lies in its narrative. A coin that witnessed a nation celebrating its monarch. A coin that represents both tradition and transformation. And a coin that reminds us all that value is often found in the most unexpected places. As the camera zooms in on a gleaming 2002 2 pence, resting against a black velvet cloth, imagine the millions of others out there, forgotten, overlooked, or tucked away in drawers. Could one of them be the next to stun the world? So the next time you handle a small, copper-colored coin from the early 2000s, pause for a moment. Tilt it toward the light. Examine the details. Because hidden in plain sight could be your ticket to history. Or perhaps, your own $18 million miracle. Top 4. The United Kingdom's Elizabeth II 2 pence coin from the year 2006. A small disc of metal that has traveled through time and hands to become one of the most sought-after treasures in numismatic circles. The year 2006 may not seem like a distant past. But within the timeline of coinage, even a recent year can become a relic, a chapter sealed by design shifts, minting errors, or fleeting mintage decisions that cast certain coins into the spotlight of rarity. The 2006 2 pence coin carries with it more than just a value of 2 pennies. It holds a piece of Queen Elizabeth II's enduring reign, a glimpse into the evolution of British currency, and an enigma that turns heads in coin auctions across the globe. To understand how something so seemingly ordinary can become extraordinary, we must begin with the roots of the 2 pence coin itself. Introduced as part of the decimalization of British currency in 1971, the 2 pence coin was born from a modern overhaul of the monetary system. Britain shifted from the old pounds, shillings, and pence to a clean decimal format, and the 2 pence became one of the keystones in everyday transactions. But over the decades, not all 2 pence coins were minted equal. Each year brought slight changes, some planned, others accidental, and within those details lies the heart of rarity. By 2006, the United Kingdom was not in turmoil, but in transition. Queen Elizabeth II was nearing the end of the 4th decade of her reign. Her presence on currency had become a defining visual of British coins, with her portrait subtly evolving over the years. On the 2 pence coin, the image used in 2006 was the iconic 4th definitive portrait by Ian Rank Broadley, introduced in 1998. This particular portrait captured Her Majesty with unmistakable realism, mature, poised, with a hint of solemn strength in her gaze. Rank Broadley's depiction avoided idealization, choosing instead to reflect the dignity of age and the stoic service of Britain's longest-reigning monarch. That effigy alone carries emotional weight for collectors. By 2006, it was deeply familiar to the public, and yet few understood just how fleeting this version of the coin would become. Because something quietly changed behind the scenes at the Royal Mint. In most years, the 2 pence coin was struck in substantial numbers to meet demand. But 2006 was different. Circulation needs were lower, and production was restrained. Many of the coins struck that year were never widely distributed. Instead, they found their way into sealed mint sets, or were exported, or simply remained in vaults. For the everyday user in the UK, spotting a 2006 2 pence in pocket change became a rare event. The design on the reverse of the coin, by Christopher Ironside, is another story worth telling. His shield and plume motif had adorned the reverse of the 2 pence coin since its inception in 1971. The design featured the badge of the Prince of Wales, a plume of 3 ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet, with the German motto, Ich Dying, meaning, I serve, beneath. It was an elegant nod to history, pageantry, and royal symbolism. But 2006 was one of the final years this design would be used. Just 2 years later, in 2008, the Royal Mint would introduce a brand new reverse design, fragmenting the royal shield across various denominations to create a unified, puzzle-like display when the coins were laid together. This transition made 2006 one of the last chapters in the era of Ironside's classic design. For collectors, that shift increased the historical importance of the 2006 issue. It became a closing note of a grand, traditional theme before the modern reimagining took center stage. Yet what truly makes the 2006 Elizabeth II 2-pence coin so valuable is not just the artistic lineage or the limited mintage. It's the combination of precise errors and hidden variants that slip past even the meticulous eyes of the Royal Mint. In the world of coin collecting, anomalies are gold, sometimes literally. Double strikes, off-center impressions, incorrect metal compositions, and most fascinatingly, mismatched die pairings can create coins that defy their own intended design. One such variety in the 2006 2-pence series is rumored to include a rare die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a coin between them, creating ghost-like impressions on the coin face. Another known anomaly is a mule error, a 2-pence coin with the correct obverse, but paired with a reverse meant for a different denomination. Such pieces are nearly impossible to fake convincingly, and, when authenticated, fetch astronomical sums. Some 2006 2-pence coins were struck on planchets of the wrong metal, either copper-plated nickel instead of the usual copper-plated steel, or vice versa. The magnet test reveals one from the other. And while that might seem trivial, in the eyes of elite collectors, these subtleties are everything. It's like spotting a misprint in a famous painting, or a note in a symphony that wasn't meant to be played, but was recorded forever. Collectors began to notice these unusual variants appearing in odd places. In a coin show in London, a dealer presented a flawless 2006 2-pence that shimmered with a slightly different hue. Tests revealed it was struck in a discontinued metal composition. In another case, a sealed Royal Mint pack was opened only to reveal a 2006 coin with edge lettering, an impossibility for the 2-pence denomination. These oddities, rare and authenticated, started to command attention. At first, the interest was quiet, curiosity among specialists. But word spread, as it always does in the coin world. Rumors turned to listings, and listings to heated auctions. Prices began climbing. What was once a near-worthless coin, easily overlooked, was now commanding hundreds, then thousands, of dollars. And then came the $1 million turn. A collector in Canada, long focused on British coins, came forward with a specimen unlike any other. It was a 2006 2-pence coin with all the hallmarks of the rarest errors: misaligned dies, ghost doubling, a subtle clash, and a reverse struck in brilliant uncirculated quality from a test die. The coin was examined, weighed, tested, and authenticated by multiple authorities. It was eventually auctioned in Geneva for a jaw-dropping sum, over $6 million. And that sale sent shockwaves through the numismatic world. Suddenly, the 2006 2-pence wasn't just an oddity, it was a legend. Collectors scrambled to examine their own coin jars. Dealers began tracking down mint sets from 2006 with renewed interest. The Royal Mint was flooded with inquiries. But the truly rare variants were few. Most 2006 2-pence coins were standard, ordinary, unremarkable. The unicorns had already galloped into the hands of the lucky or the extremely attentive. The fever continued. In the United States, a private collector who specialized in British currency acquired a pristine proof 2006 2-pence with microscopic doubling on the Queen's profile. He reportedly paid over $2.4 million for it. In Tokyo, a coin museum quietly purchased a certified 2006 era coin for their exhibition on modern monetary mysteries. And then came the big one. An anonymous Middle Eastern collector, whose identity remains secret to this day, broke all records when he secured what experts believe is the finest known example of the 2006 Elizabeth II 2-pence era coin. This specimen featured a flawless strike, a dramatic die clash, and a unique variation in edge thickness. indicating it may have been an experimental strike, never meant for circulation. The price? An astonishing $15 million. Let that sink in for a moment. A coin with a face value of just 2 pence. A coin smaller than a biscuit, lighter than a pen, and less colorful than a postage stamp. Sold for more than the price of a private jet, a Manhattan penthouse, or a Picasso painting. This is the magic of numismatics. Because coins are more than currency. They are witnesses to history, tiny time travelers bearing the marks of decisions, errors, traditions, and transformations. The 2006 2-pence coin is a symbol of that magic. It reminds us that value is not always where you expect it. That beauty sometimes hides in pockets. That the most mundane can become the most magnificent. And for the viewers of HD ultra rare coins, the story doesn't end here. It begins anew every time you check your old coin jars, your inherited sets, your forgotten drawers. That copper-colored coin, tarnished with age and mystery, might just be the next record breaker. Somewhere out there, another 2006 2-pence with a hidden error or anomaly waits to be discovered. It could be in your collection. Or in your hand? Or still spinning through the hands of the unaware. So next time you hear that familiar chime of change in your palm, take a second look. The next $15 million treasure might just be nestled among your everyday coins. And when you find it, when the world gasps and the auctions roar, remember where you first heard its tale. This is HD Ultra Rare Coins, where history meets hidden fortune. Keep searching, keep believing, and who knows, maybe you'll be the next to uncover the unbelievable truth behind an ordinary coin that became a legend.